Alright, so we're gonna alright, so this one's gonna get straight into it. Don't wanna do too much talking, right? Small wins. What are small wins? Small wins, well again, before I even start to talk about small wins, I wanna also say that things are also how you perceive them to be, right? I might sound mad, but just hear me out, right? Let's say my main goal is to do one pull up right now, right? Right now, I'm unable to do a full pull up. Right, I cannot do a full pull up. I mean, you're not gonna see the whole. Let me see the whole bar. You're not gonna see the whole. I'm not gonna be able to do like one pull up. Right, that's the main goal. Now small wins keep you motivated and it just makes you feel good because even though you're not doing what it is you want really, which is again the main goal, which for me would be another example. It's not really it right now, but as an example would be pull up, right? Small goals, small wins make you feel powerful. It makes you feel good and it keeps you in a good mood and you want to keep on going, right? Without making you feel like I'm getting nowhere, I'm not making a difference, yada yada. Small wins could be so small. For example, waking up like 5 minutes earlier than your usual time. So let's say your sleep routine is terrible. Mine used to be horrid. It used to be you sleeping 3 to 4 in the morning every day. 2 to 4 in the morning every day, and then waking up 12 sometime after lunch. It was horrible, right? And I did that so much time it became a habit. No, I didn't let that discourage me, right? Because I know where it is I want to. Bro, I'm doing so much hand movement, but again, it's a phone. It's not really that. I'm gonna step back on it, right? Yeah, but I find it's look better when I up close, right? Make it up and personal, right? All right, fuck it. I'll just try to, whatever. I'll make it work somehow, right? So when I was sleeping terrible, obviously that was a habit. So like I'm used to constantly sleeping late, and to suddenly change that is gonna be really hard because you're so used to doing something, right? That's the one thing that a lot of people mess up on. They find it so hard to change because what they're doing, it's like they're driving up a hill. No, it's like again you're doing a habit, which is like let's say so sleeping bad. So and let's say you're sleeping, I guess how I was, which was like 2 to 4 in the morning. Instead of doing that, you would probably do something extreme like going straight to bed around 9 p.m. Again, it's good. It's also good sometimes to do the little extreme. But I'm trying to give advice on longevity, right? I like to focus on long term wise because when I tried doing that, I couldn't sleep. My mind wouldn't rest, and I went and it was terrible. I tried to sleep, but for literally 3 straight hours, I literally couldn't. I just give up, go out on the phone, boom, boom, boom. Then I fall asleep again, but it was like 2 to 4 in the morning. It was like, wow, golly, right? So, what I did was now again, I like to do more. I try to give advice for general people. Doing sometimes the extreme stuff works, sometimes it doesn't, right? I'm trying to give advice so it works for everyone, right? So what I did was I tried to go to bed, let's say an hour, just 1 hour, not 2 hours, not 3 hours. What I feel like I could do, right? This is from the book Building Habits. So you don't want to really make it feel like a chore. You don't want to make it feel like you hate doing it, because if you go to sleep at a time you hate, again, I tell the next thing too. If you build enough hate for the existing sleep schedule, yeah, I guess there's another bonus too. But for the to fix it, if you hate, again, you're accustomed going to sleep at bad, so not really gonna be hate much, right? But when you are trying to build your new sleep routine, you cannot hate it. It should not feel like a chore. It should feel like you want to go to sleep at that time, right? So what I used to do is, again, 1 hour. I ask myself, how, what time I could go to bed earlier, I could go to bed a little earlier, and that could be how much, right? How much that could be by. Go to bed earlier by what? 30 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, as small as possible, right? Again, small wins, right? The main goal is to sleep, let's say 9 or 10, right? But because I'm sleeping at 2 to 4 in the morning, that's terrible, right? And you don't just automatically shoot to 9 to 10. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Most of the time it doesn't, because you're so accustomed, because you build a bad habit, right? So you want to slowly break that. So you ask yourself, I could go to bed a little earlier, but by how much? So for me, it was an hour. So instead of going to sleep at 2 in the morning, I went to sleep at 1. I know it's still terrible, but again, small win. It's a lot better than going to 2 to fucking 4 in the morning. You know how dread I used to be? Dreadful, bro. I think there was a time I kept sleeping. I was like on the couch. Sun was in my face. Well, yeah, everyone was awake. I was sleeping away. I was like, my eyelids were like closing on me, right? So I went to sleep by 1 hour earlier, and I kept doing that. Okay, once I felt like, okay, I'm consistently sleeping at 1 in the morning or whatever, then I feel like, all right. No, again, I didn't wait. I want to be very clear with my words, right? I didn't wait until I'm suddenly accustomed to 1, right? As soon as I got to go to sleep 1 p.m. or 1 a.m. or whatever, or sometimes you might even feel like, even when you're going to sleep by 1 a.m., you might feel like, oh, I could go a little earlier. Okay, yeah, sure, that could work, right? I'm trying to give advice that works for everyone, right? There's always the exceptions. There's always the exceptions that happen, right? You might get the feeling suddenly, or you might not. You gotta work with yourself. You gotta work with you and your body, your mind, whatever. So now, once I started sleeping earlier, like even if it was like 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, right? I kept on doing small changes, small wins, right? Because again, it's a lot better than sleeping 2 in the fucking morning, 2 to 4 in the morning, and wake. Then I get, that was during school days too. During school weeks, then I had to wake up for 7. Sometimes I had like 3 hours sleep. 3 hours sleep, and I had to get up to go to school. Oh my god. I don't even know how I survived that shit, but yeah. So again, keeps doing small wins, right? Because they're gonna add up eventually, right? Even if it was like an hour before, I'm still getting an hour extra rest, which is fucking amazing. Mandatory, I'm telling you, right? Also, that's also very good to get taller. I know like a lot of dudes want to get taller and shit. I actually grew taller because I was doing the dead hangs. Dead hangs are a really good way. Fasting is the next one. And again, sleeping early, sleeping on time is a fucking key, right? Fucking key. I cuddle this fucking pillow every night. No shame. I don't care, right? Look at that. When you're not talking with scripts, you just give random advice, and again, be yourself. So I advise doing scripts. Again, be careful what you say too, but don't do scripts. More benefits with it. There's more benefits without doing scripts. But yeah, back to the main point. I eventually started sleeping early. Just like that. I started sleeping early. Around 10. It was still averaging between 9 to 11. But it was so much better than like 2 to 4 in the morning. Like, oh my god, bro. But yeah. Another small win was the book. This was like really, really early on in my videos. Right? You could probably still find it. I was in a white jacket. I was outside and I was talking about small wins or some shit. About a book, right? So basically, I went from hating to read. I hated reading. I don't know why. I didn't even try it. Actually, no, I think I know, but I'm not going to tell you why. Point is, I hated reading. And I knew the benefits that you can get from reading, right? First of all, you don't get illiterate. You're not a retard. Because I be watching some people out here, famous people too. They can't pronounce certain words. They can't pronounce, well, I wouldn't say easy words, but they have such a difficult time in like reading. I'm like, what the fuck? So I said, fuck that. I'm gonna read. Plus, some of the books I read were phenomenal, right? Forget a lot to do, right? I started with Rich Dad Poor Dad. That was the one book my dad wanted me to read. So I read that book. But like I said, I hated reading. So I did not read the book like that. I didn't read the book one time, straight away. You know, I just... Oh, no, that was in the camera. I started reading nothing at first. I wanted to read... No, again, this was the first book I read out. The second book I read out was Psychology of Money. And the third book I read was Habits, I believe. And the next book I'm going to end up reading out, fourth book, would be How to Win Friends and Influence People, right? So, first thing first, I started as small as... Yeah?
You know what you say?
Huh?
Watch out. 1 minute.
Let me just pause this real quick. Yeah, so back as I was saying... Shit, what I was saying, boy? Alright. I started as small as putting the book next to me. Every time I woke up, the book would be the first thing I see. I didn't even open it. Did not open it. And again, the next day, I would make sure I wake up and I see the book. Then one day I decided, alright, I'm going to open it. Again, like I said, there will always be the exceptions where you might be the kind of person to do things much quicker than people, or might be too slower. But the point is, small wins is small wins. You are still winning. Yes?
It's not working.
Alright, hold on a sec. Back again. Imagine if someone calls me a third time. That would be crazy, right? But anyways, as I was saying, then I started to open. I'm lucky I remember where I left off. But yeah, I started with slowly opening the book. I would say I'm going to turn to one page. I'm not going to read. I'm going to turn to one page. And I do that every time. Every time I see the book. So I would make sure I carried, I would put it in certain spots, right? Or I would ask my sister to just put it here and there randomly. So anytime I see it, I have to open that book. Don't have to read it, just open it. It could be quick, it could be slow, it could be whatever. I open the book. Then, one day, I said, oh, you know what, I could read. So I opened the book. I saw the book. No, I woke up to the book. Saw the book, opened it to the first page, read one word. Of course, I didn't read one word. I felt like I read a sentence. So I read one sentence. I read two. I read probably a half, maybe to a paragraph before it started to feel like a chore. So, did not read. I read until where I could, and I did that every day. Then, I read half a page. From half a page, I read to 2 pages. Or 1 full page. Then I read from 1 full page to now read it 1 or 2 full chapters. Telling you, I am just reading now. And the thing is, it's not like, or you don't like the saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. And it's like, if you stop reading, you're gonna hate. No. I probably haven't read it. I just feel like because I unlocked that ability to just go ahead and read and not hate it, I could just read any book. Telling you, I've almost read... Let me show you. I will tell you where I reached in this book. So in this book, I am at page 88, right? Page 88. 88, sorry. Now, I've read multiple I've read chapters. I'm reading like whole chapters. Whole chapter 1, whole chapter 2. Easily. Like it's nothing. It's like eating it for breakfast. Telling you. Like breakfast. Easy. Right? That's how quickly I read. Again, that's how quickly I read up to 3 books. This is gonna be my 4th book I've read out completely. And I'm talking all the way down to the end. No! This is the 5th book. I forget this is the 5th book. Yeah, because I've already read from Mason. I forget his name. Mason. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. There's the next one. So this is actually my 5th book. Yeah! Because I read that I finished out that book maybe a month ago. I think I finished it a month ago. Yeah. I read that book in a month. I could easily read, I feel I could easily read one book in 1 week. That's how confident I am. Right? And you don't build habits like that from nothing. You have to have small wins, right? Small wins kept me motivated, and it just made me know like I could do so much more, and I could keep on doing it. I'm not failing because I'm always trying. It's a lot better than fucking like 0. Even if it's like 0.001 better, it's still green. It's not red. You know, the arrow is still going up. It's not going down. What you gonna complain for? Still winning. So yeah. So anytime you're doing a task, always focus on small wins or like big goals, right? Like eating better. For me right now, the eating, again, it is nowhere as bad as how it used to be. And I was fat as fuck. I was wild, right? It's nowhere near that. It will never be as bad as that. Never. Because that version of me, I'm not even gonna shit talk on him because you went through some hard shit. So I'm not gonna shit talk on him myself. But I will not be like him again. That's all. Right? So yeah. So keep this in mind in any task you're doing. Right? Small wins will keep you motivated. Small wins are honestly a huge factor when it comes to longevity. Right? Long-term stuff, small wins will keep you in the game. And they will keep you doing things over and consistently without feeling desperate or desolate. I don't know when the word desolate comes to mind, but I'm not really sure if that's the right word, but it just keeps you motivated, it keeps you in a good mood, yada yada, right? So focus on small wins, especially when you're doing big long tasks, right? Small wins will get you there because again, you're still winning, right? Still doing a lot better than before. Even if you eat shit today. What I used to do, another tip, what I used to do when after I felt like shit because I ate horrible. When I was big, right? I used to eat probably late in the night, or I used to eat something terrible, which I know was bad, and I used to feel sad. I used to feel fucking hopeless, right? So what I did, again, even if it's the smallest thing, I just walked. Sometimes it would be late in the night, so I would just walk for like 10 minutes, or I just move my body up for 10, like a minute or 2. But I do that all the time. Every time I did something wrong. I'm gonna make a video right after this talking about you can outwork your failure. So that video, full of value, full of analytical data is what comes to mind when I say that. So I make me sound smart, I guess. But yeah, I used to just do small wins, though. Even when I was big, I used to just do small, simple things. And they didn't even seem like much, but look what they added up. Look at me now. I look jacked in a way, but I'm not actually jacked, trust me, I'm not. I don't got any shoulder muscle going on. I might have a little, I'm still amazed when I have a little, I don't care, you could shit on me all you want, I never used to have this. Fuck you, right? I never used to have this. Never used to be like this. I don't care, right? But keep that in mind, small wins will keep you in the game, long-term wise. And everyone should be long-term wise. Short-term, I'm not even gonna say about short-term because short-term is not my kind of thing. It's not my thing. I like to do long-term shit. Even when I'm playing games, long-term. You know what I mean? So yeah, so take care, have a good day.